I hope people can just look at me and be like, you know what? Like, I can see why somebody would choose him.
Yeah.
I could see it. I'd like to give a personal shout out to the Buzz Coffee and More right here on East McNeese across from Crying Eagle. Shout out my girl Maggie. Great coffee, better energy. They love Jesus there. And you can go get work done, hang out. The vibes are always good. They're usually jamming some really good music. And I mean, I just got to say it. Fuck Starbucks. All right.
We'll edit that out.
All right. But really, though,
getting back to Daily Dons.
so like one of the reasons we started this podcast is because me and Scott have such really good conversations. And we were in the truck running to the Buzz and started kind of having a conversation about the first pod that we just filmed. And we wanted to kind of just bring it up and have a short little segment. So
Truthfully, I like that energy that we had on that last one. I think it was just natural. It was just natural energy. It didn't seem like we just said one word and we went off with it. Now we went to this tangent, but that was great. I mean, hey, you're going to watch the podcast and be like, okay, I might get a clip of information. But what we were talking about and what I really liked is we were talking about the wheel or your job or how you do your job. And what I said is, a lot of people I think fizz out because they try to reinvent the wheel. Like you said, keep it simple. Keep it simple,
just allowed to
stupid.
bring it up or keep it stupid simple.
Keep it stupid, simple, or keep it simple, stupid. You don't have to reinvent a wheel to make it your thing. You add your flair to the wheel. The wheel's there. Sell real estate is pretty easy, but how does Donovan sell real estate to make him better than the next person? Or how does Scott sell real estate to make him better than the next person? And I think that's what we try to get caught up in is the cogs of how can I make this wheel better?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to make the wheel better. Add your flair.
Man, adding your flair is actually a really good, like, for what I'm about to say. I feel like haven't you heard like good artists copy great artists still?
Yeah.
Like basically for the most part, real estate, it is what it is. Like the numbers, the paperwork, all that. Like that's the black and white side of real estate is what I call that.
Yeah.
But like, there's 700 realtors registered right now. And what makes you different from like Sammy, Joe, whatever, like, and for me personally, like, I think it is a brand thing. You're not just getting me as a realtor, you're getting me as a kind of subcontractor vibe, me as a friend, me as somebody that's just a non-BSer in your life is what I hope people look at me at and say, man, even if I don't agree with this cat, he keeps it a stack with me. And for the most part, I feel like I try to be, I'm energetic, but I try to be more observant and more relaxed in settings. But like, I hope people can just look at me and be like, you know what? Like, I can see why somebody would choose him.
Yeah.
I could see it.
And that's so I was talking to a person the other day and they said, Scott, I love what you're doing. I see you every day. I mean, you are now a celebrity. It was for the Mad Hot Ballroom. It was an event for that.
You're dancing at that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy!
Can you see this man in a lot of rhinestones?
Dude, that is awesome.
So it's a great event. The reason why, once again, I don't mind making myself look a little silly. I don't know how to dance. There's no professional choreography behind this guy. This guy is what you see is what you get. So we'll see how my coach can make me move. We'll see. But
you're from New Orleans. Come on now.
I got
juke.
That's about it. That's about as white as he can get. But it's okay. Scratch that. New clip. But the thing is, he was looking at he said, "Scott, man, you're awesome. You're great. Oh, by the way, I'm selling my house and using this other realtor." Man, yeah, built me up and then just, like, crapped on me. But the thing is, and well, Scott, what was your reaction to that? Awesome. I'm glad, man, a move. That's awesome. Because I could have the buyer for that house, number 1, but he told me why he went and used that realtor. And he's like, "This realtor bought me this house. This realtor has worked real well for me." And that's the best part about it. Choose your realtor that works best for you, and it could be a slam. I could take that as, "Man, Scott, you're not the best realtor." Hey, I'm always in the if that realtor messes up, guess what? He knows somebody else.
You're in the chamber.
I'm in the chamber. I'm there. And that's all I want my hat in the ring. If you don't choose me, but my hat's in the ring, great. Hey, choose who you want. But the thing is that add your flair to the wheel. Don't reinvent it because then you're gonna try to burn yourself out and trying to be like, "Okay, let me get this little piece right." And if you work on just that little piece, you burn yourself out. You're just out of it. Don't reinvent the wheel of being a realtor. Just be the best realtor you can be. Once again, it's that mindset of 100. You could ask me why, Scott. Why do you have this mindset of 100? I don't know. I don't know, but that's what drives me, and like I said, the 75%, that's what irks me as well. Can you I mean, does that 50% going back on the last conversation, does that 50% irk you?
It eats at me, man. It just makes me eye roll because, and I know it's a journey, but at the same time, like, it's like, take the basic steps you need to take in order to, like, get out of the circus and start, like, conducting more than, like, just being a part of the show. Um, and I just know that I'm the resume, I feel like, doesn't say 50%. Like, everything I have doesn't, it just, when you look at it, I mean, at least 85, in my
I would
opinion.
say 90.
Right,
Looking at you, Bean sitting next to you, I would say 90. I would never have said 50.
bro. And it's just basic stuff, though, like adding systems and letting them work for me. So, like, and building a referral-based business, because this isn't a one-trick pony short game for me. Like, and just there's people, in my opinion, I think there's people that haven't used me, that have used other people that are eventually gonna come back around and be like, "Hey, like, we want you to list my house." Like, "Hey, help me buy, like, next said house." So, like, something I've had to learn is to, like, don't, like, burn a bridge over, like, a momentary, like,
Yep.
and what's so cool is, I mean, I'm growing as a realtor, people that are using me now, like, eventually, like, they're gonna be like, "That's a top dog," you know? But the same thing of, like, how Imma grow, your people grow.
Yep.
So those people that, like, I bought the $150,000 home for,
Yes.
they could be the 450, 600
Yeah.
cat. I mean, they're one job away, they're one anything away from leveling up, and, like, for me to basically, like, crap out my chances before it even starts, that's something I, like, never wanna do, like, and it hurts because I take things personal, but in business, man, you can't take things too personal, like, even with commission, I feel like that's one of the more touchier subjects, and I know we did our podcast on the buyer-broker agreement, but, like, for the first time the other day, I had somebody tell me that, like, "We're not gonna pay you, like, we don't wanna pay you." And, like, legit, if
How did you take that?
and legit, they were like, "No, we're not paying you. Like, I don't care who the fuck you bring." They were literally point blank said that. How I took it?
How did you take it?
It took a lot. I had to take a second. I paused. It was probably about a 10-second pause, if I'm being honest. And I pretty much just started just describing my value. I started asking them questions about how they were gonna handle, like, the paperwork. If they just you can't just sign a document basically and be
Mhm.
done. Like, there's just so much stuff, and I started asking about errors and if they know anything about errors and omission, which they obviously don't, but, like, we have, like, I think it's in a $1,000,000 policy, like, every realtor has to have it, and it protects you from errors and omissions and stuff that out of your foreseen knowledge you can't control. So I took it harsh though. I called my broker like pretty pissed if I'm being honest. Like these people don't want to fucking pay me. Like this is a load of BS. Like I'm bringing the buyer. Like I'm doing their paperwork. Like I don't
Wait,
get it.
wait, time out. So this was a seller. This was a
Yeah,
seller.
yeah.
Okay. So keep going with the story because I mean that just changed the whole thing from all right, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That
Let's
was good
keep going.
clarity because I didn't clarify
So
anything.
this is a seller that said, "Look, I'm not gonna pay you, but you have a buyer for their house." Finish that.
And I did start off asking for a 2.5,
Okay.
and they were like, and I was just like, dog, like how like, and here's me being a newer agent, like I didn't have anything under contract yet. I have 3 things right now, but, like, at the time, so I was kinda fiending for a sale, and but I knew my worth, and I was like, "Man, like, give me 2K flat and I'll be good. Like, forget the percentage," and they were like, "That's still too much," and I'm like, "How do you know my worth?" I kinda probably didn't do it the best, if I'm being honest. I coulda de-armed the situation better, but, I wound up we met the next day, we didn't talk because they were still trying to figure out the other numbers as far as the agreement on the price, but wound up getting 1,500 basically. And if you look at it, a lot of agents would have told you they wouldn't accept at that. But like at the end of the day, honestly, one, I needed a sell, and then two, I'm betting on my people to use me time and time again. So like back when I worked in Jackson, Mississippi, or in Madison, Mississippi, which is a little bit north, more bougie, place called Salad Mookie's. Yeah, the Taco Bell was brick. It was that bougie, yeah. Everything the money was blue there is what I said. But,
Blew off the thing.
so they did this thing where you know what, gratuity is? Table of 6 or more, whatever it is, you're supposed to grat. Well, me being such a good gratuity's 18%. Me being such a good waiter, I usually would bet against the gratuity, meaning that, like, alright, the bill's $100, I'm betting Imma get at least a $20 tip here. Like, I'm not gonna add gratuity, and I feel like by not pressing my buyers to pay my full commission, I
Yeah.
feel like it's almost like me betting on them to use me again. The fact that they're in my fold now that like I'll get the money back eventually.
Yeah.
Like just because I'm not making the 3-4,000 that I should make being a dual agent,
Yep.
it's okay.
Yeah.
But that's just the kind of person I am. And people used to look at me, they used to get so like, you know, you're gonna miss out on, you know, there's a chance they stiff you or only give you like 5%. I'm like, honestly, I'm willing to risk it, and it's not risk it for the biscuit necessarily, it's that I know the level of service I provide is so high that it shows more on you to not tip me
Yep.
what I'm supposed I mean, dude, average it was like a 33% tip percentage average, so why would I even wanna deal with 18%? Like,
Mhm.
I'm shooting for the top.
Yeah.
So, it was tough to navigate because it was a hit of pride. Because like, if I'm being honest, like, need new tires, like, there's some stuff I need, and I'm, like, counting the money, and then I have to split the money with Coldwell, so it's not like I'm getting 1,500 straight. By the end of it, I'm making less than $1,000, showed the buyers a bunch of houses, like, it was just a lot of effort. I honestly think I'm a wash for this, but that's why you got other stuff working. But it's not really a wash at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
if you view everything materialistically, then, like, you're not don't do this career because like, it ain't worth it for you if you're just all about the Benjis. Like, if you wanna be a good agent, you just gotta care.
Getting back to your point, that is exactly what we were talking about. You did not reinvent the wheel. You added your flair to the wheel. The process of selling that house was the exact same, but like you said, most agents would never have dealt with that. Most agents would have said, "Goodbye, I can't deal." Guess what? Those sellers, I mean, you got the house sold. Those
Got the clear to close today, actually, during the first pod, so close Monday at 9.
okay. close Monday at 9. Guess what? Those sellers might remember you and say, "Man, I need to use him. He got this deal done." You probably look like a hero to them, and they were like, "Man, we only paid this dude 1,500 bucks. Imagine if, and he got it closed so quickly. Imagine if we pay him what he's worth, because now they know what you're worth." I did the same thing when I started the Capstone team. I did a 1% listing. Every agent hated me because I did a 1% listing. The Capstone team did.
But to clarify, that wasn't it wasn't 2% total.
Mm-mm.
It
No,
was
it was 1% only on my side. The 2.5% was on the other side. So I was giving the agent what they wanted, but only I was taking the lick. Scott, why did you do that? Well, I got one client that said, "Scott, my daughter saw your stuff on Facebook. I want to give you a chance. I usually don't work with realtors." He's a big money guy, and I don't want to say his name, but he's a big money guy in Lake Charles. And he's like, "I have my realtors that I use, but I'll give you a try." It so happened that I call another agent friend of mine who has a family member looking for this house. So boom, cash deal done within 15 days.
mm,
That now that person, that seller is not in my pocket, but he's gonna know. He's referred me at least 6 other times.
but dude, that's invaluable. Referral based. Them ladies on the summit,
Yeah.
not all of them were talking about a referral
Referral,
based
referral,
business.
referral, referral.
Alicia Jenkins out of Baton Rouge. She said it's over an 80% of her business now.
Yeah. So, man, look, we took a drive to open houses on Sunday, and one agent still knew about the 1% and was like, "Man, how did you do that?" Like, I think she was throwing some shade at me.
Yeah, it wasn't think. That was full blown. That was
That
should have just came
Whoa!
out and called you the B word.
Should have, but guess what? I didn't do that to mess with other realtors. I really
Mm-mm.
didn't. I did that to grow business, and I think that it definitely put me out there as a realtor that would do anything to get a job done.
And dude, like, but at the end of the day, people can think it's sleazy or whatnot, but like the marketing worked.
Marketing
All
work.
marketing is attention, and attention is focus and energy, which we have a goldfish, less than a goldfish brain's worth of all that now. So the fact that the ad was whoever ran the Facebook ad did really good though, because I saw it enough times that I was like, holy shit, everybody in Lake Charles is seeing this right now. So overall, I was successful campaign.
Yeah.
And I'd say 5, really 6, but to 5X that guy from the 1%, like, that's just people can say what they want. You got it out. You got it how you lived, man.
And that's the thing. It's not reinventing the wheel. The wheel turns fine. I was teaching my little girl last night. She came home with a test, and she got a D on the test.
Mm.
And I was like just talking to her and saying, "Look, oh,
Dun 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 dun. I
we,
thought he was about to come in, dude.
I should have said something.
Uh,
What are you sorry about? Don't be sorry. You didn't break it. Boom. It's back up. It's back up and running."
Producer cameo.
You see when the producer comes in. So look, so I was teaching my little girl something, and we weren't talking about reinventing the wheel, but she was talking about how the first airplane was done. And so she had to do chronological orders, which were terrible for me. And that's where she got all of her answers wrong. If you miss one in chronological order, you're missing them all. And that's what I said to her. And well, Scott, how are you going to get this back to real estate? I'm talking about reinventing that wheel. I said, you have to study first you have to study and read about that job or what they were doing. It was the Wright brothers. They had to read about the airplane before they could make the airplane. And that's how I summed it up to her, because she put that they made the airplane first. No, you have to study about it, you have to read about it, and then you can make the airplane. So, re when us as realtors, we don't have to reinvent anything, and I think that's how we get burnt out and fed up with things, is because we're trying to reinvent something when the wheel's there. Like you said, for you, selling the property, getting the buyers, having the buyer, getting the seller on board just to pay any percentage was your flair to that wheel. My 1% was a flair to the wheel, and it's don't get burnt out by just, like, trying to reinvent something that does not need to be reinvented. Be better at that invention or adding that flair, and for me, that's like, look, get my 75% up. For you, it's like, get that 50% up.
And the thing is, man, there's this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and the biggest thing is it's like an avalanche, it's a snowball effect, it's an energy bus thing, it's a, Ramsey, John Gordon reference, I wanna say, but, energy bus, but, once you start doing one thing and focusing on one aspect, it kinda can snowball just as bad as you think, like, as bad as I think 50% is. I think once the wheel starts turning, you air up that tire and get it rolling, before you know it, like, the efficiency's through the roof to where, like, I have to take another step back and be like, "Okay, how do I get it even more efficient?" And, like, I think my biggest thing, like, I know I said organization is my word of the year, but I think more than anything is, like, I feel like I could look at somebody else's sales or business career and easily be able to point out, like, weaknesses
Yeah.
and strengths, but with me, I feel like it's like I feel like I'm almost drowning in my own pool, and I know how to swim, you know?
Why is it so hard to look at your own business and see what you're doing right or wrong?
In my opinion, I feel like recently, uh, a lot of little things will pile up, and it'll basically making a mountain out of a molehill. Instead of, like, having a firefighter mindset of, like, "We're just gonna do it one step at a time," like, one step, I start looking at this big picture. And then I'll start, like, drowning basically in, like, futurism stuff versus being like, "Alright, where are my feet are? Like, how can I ground myself right now? Like, what's the most important if I were to only do one thing right now that's most important, what would it be?" Half the time, I can't answer that. And I think just getting to where it's almost like people say if you're overthinking, you're supposed to write.
Yep.
It's like brain dumping enough to where I can, get back to, like, I call it getting back to 0, which is,
Yeah.
like, base level.
Mhm.
So,
As we were saying on the car of the way to coffee, like we said here, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Sometimes it's hard to keep it simple. On the way back to the podcast, you talked about, man, you think that and I think that I could probably do the same thing. Look at somebody's business for like 10 minutes and say, okay, this seems like you're doing it wrong here, 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 and here. Why is it so hard to look inward to your own business and say you're doing this wrong? For me, I think, man, I don't like to call myself out. I th- I don't know. What makes it so hard to be like, all right, scrub your head and this is what you're doing wrong and get it right. Is it laziness? Is it laziness that man, I don't want to work on myself, or man, I mean, I find that laziness in real estate can be so easy because I mean, if you have a book of business that's running itself, like a CRM that runs itself, like my CRM that basically runs itself, that's probably why I don't touch it, because I feel like I don't need to, and it might be a little bit of laziness in me because I have all these other things going on. Community, buyers, sellers, family. I have all these other things, but like we said in that first podcast, it was just like, devote some time to it. If you don't devote 2 hours to it, great. Devote 30 minutes to it.
but that's what James Clear talked about, like, You wanna change the world, bro, like, just, like, start brushing your teeth and then, like, pair a habit with brushing if you do something every night, like brushing teeth, then pair whatever you're about to do or whatever you wanna do with, like, brushing your teeth, and then before you know it, like, you'll just your brain starts to rewire itself, but it's about and, like, other half of my problem, I felt like it's just consistency in general, like, I'll show up and feel like I'm, like, a heavyweight as far as, like, the fight of the dog in me, but I feel like sometimes, like, it's hard to get back on course, so once I start veering off, whether it's, like, a shame thing, whether it's a upset of my because I'm very hard on myself, like, we talk about keeping it simple, I think sometimes my brain can sometimes be the bane of my walk and what I'm trying to do, like, getting out of my own way, I think's always even it's just crazy because like, I used to play sports, and I honestly, like, don't even like bringing up athletics at all, like, I remember in high school, like, you could tell who the jocks were and stuff, and people knew I played sports, it was very easy to tell, but, like, I felt like I never wore it on my sleeve because I wanted people to see me as more than just an athlete. Because 'cause I've always have been, I just so happened to be blessed to be able to play sports and people to believe in me enough to let me play. Um Forgot exactly where I was going with that, but, another thing I wanna say, you're talking about, like, learning the game and, like, learning the rules, basically. I'm a creative guy. Something that I had to learn, and they pretty much drilled this in my head in college, and I finally accepted it, is that, like, you gotta know the rules of the game before you can even attempt to break them. Like, you can't just come out of left because when in writing creatively, like, there's a lot of techniques, there's a lot of good things to study, but at the end of the day, it's your writing, it's your art, you know? But if you don't have a good foundation, y you, like I think you lose some timelessness. So, like, I think it's important to be a student of the game before you, like being a student allows you to be yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You learn about the box. Obviously, I stay outside the box, whether it's with my mouth cursing, whether it's I feel like my thoughts are different than a lot of people's. I feel like I'm just like I don't know. I think that's why we connected so well. Is that like I kind of have a ADHD undiagnosed brain, but like it's really not ADHD, but it low key is. You know, it's like there's a lot going on, but it's also
I've been diagnosed, so we fit together.
yeah, man. So, uh, back to like the rule thing is that like it's okay to wanna be different, and God made us all unique, wonderfully made, I get that, but, like, at some point, you have to, like, lock into, like, the grind of things,
Yeah.
and it comes through experience, it comes through time in general, but, like, I think the best way to accelerate it is just to, like I feel like I'm getting a new philosophy on life through this podcast, by the way, as far as, like, I feel like keeping it simple has been brought up so much that, like, I wanna challenge myself, like, how simple can I keep it? Like, I think what Imma do, Scott, Imma send you, like, a 3 things I wanna do every day for the next week, and, like, these are the 3 things Imma do, and, like, at the end of the day, if I haven't done them, obviously it's a fail, but, like, keep it simple. Like, I'm just because the biggest thing with this podcast I didn't wanna do, and the reason why I think I've quit Daily Dawn almost a dozen times is that I don't wanna have, like, imposter syndrome, or I don't wanna feel like I'm saying one thing and doing another. That's why, like, half the time, anytime, like, scripture and Jesus comes up, I'm like, "Lord, like, I know I'm pushing the boundary right now as far as, like, don't the last Daily Dime may have been on something crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I may have been on some, like, "F them kids" vibe, and, like, you can't go from there to the but, yeah, man.
Truthfully, I mean, once again, this producer came in the room. We were actually being like, this is not a real podcast. We're not really doing
We were B-rolling.
we were giving some good B-roll. And once again, I think it just flowed. Man, that's why I want to do this podcast because it's just giving out information. It's just being like, hey, realtors, don't do what we do. Be better than us. Don't be better than us because we're the top. But no, do what you can do to
My bad. Hey, speaking of being better, I guess my last thing before we probably talk about flood or something is I feel like a lot of people don't like competition and stuff like that. But first of all, what?
No, you gotta have competition.
I know,
Go.
but I love capitalism because, like, if you go read books like Lord of the Flies or Anthem, Ayn Rand, you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't read.
New Orleans. Anyway, there's a lot of good books that where was I going with this? I'm starting to get excited. The coffee's hitting me and it's kind of hard to focus. Empty stomach, this shit's smacking right now. That's one cuss word. Averaging one a pod now versus 150. Anyway,
140.
for real, what was I just saying so I can finish my thought? A little bit more. Yes, the reason why I like competition is because it brings out it's either gonna make you fold or fight. And like, for instance, before I was with Colwell, everybody like views Robbie as a big fish. Well, she is big fish, but like I always thought it was cool to be swimming in the same pond as her. Like, I don't wanna solid people are like trying to be weird, but I'm like, if there's enough food for that big bitch to eat, imagine what I can do. And I thought about it. I didn't just cuss her. But for real though, think about it. Like, you want to be where the killers are. You want to be in the mix because that little puppy can turn into big dog one day. And like, that's just kind of my vision. So like, why not lean into it? Why not? Because, and honestly, when I first started real estate, I was like, if you weren't on Flavin, I was like, you a op. Like, I can't talk to you or nothing. But now some of my best homies, great people I like doing deals with are from other like, I'd rather do a deal with them than some people at Cowell. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it's a beautiful thing once you realize that, like, your people Jen Johnson just on my, no relation, but my broker, when I was at One Way, said that, like, she always preached, like, your people are your people. Like, if they wanna use you, they're gonna use you because they like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about real estate, it's on you. So that's one of the main things I took from her, and the more I lean into that, it's good, you know?
I think competition is great.
Dude.
Competition, I think if you are a realtor and you don't get excited about the competition, then something's wrong.
Like, dude, I hope you're better than me today because you ain't gonna be better than me tomorrow. For real. Like, I hope I'm behind today. Like, I hope you get, like, it's almost like, and me, I was never the biggest trash talker in sports. Towards the end of my career, I started to because I was like, damn, I ain't going to NFL. Might as well start crashing out. But, but at the end of the day, yeah, dude.
The thing is, like I said, if being a realtor does not get you fired up because of the competition, you're dead. You're done. You're cooked. I mean, the thing is, guess what? You're gonna have Donovan Johnson or Scott Warner on your tail. Hey, I would go after that person.
Mm-hmm.
I would go after that person
Mm-hmm.
and get every deal that I wanted. Guess what? I do a lot of deals with Greg Y. Some days he gets me. Some days he gets me. And then I'm like, okay, on the next one, my turn. And he's like, come at me. Dude, it's healthy competition. Just got to go with it. All right, guys. Later.
Sponsored by the Buzz. Bye.